There we go, Mr. Robert Abernathy right there, and he's joining us right now. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Man, I'll tell you, if I was any better, it'd be a sin over here. I'm just telling you. I'm one of the luckiest persons in the world, to be able to do what I do, which is, share music like yourself with people around the world, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on the show. It's a nice little Sunday to sit around and relax and get on radio with you guys today.
Well, there you go, man. And I was telling everybody early on during the show, 2018 Alabama Country Music Artist of the Year. That's a pretty cool accomplishment there.
Yeah, that was kind of a big deal for me back then. I play probably 150 shows a year, mm-hmm. and I've been grinding for a while. I'd put music down for a little while, and then years later, I had a friend of mine talked me into going to a few open mics, and mm-hmm. so I started writing a few songs here and there, and next thing you know, I'm playing all these shows, and got nominated and got awarded that in 2018 at the BJCC in Birmingham, which was a really big deal. So I was really excited to get that.
That's so cool, man. And of course, I grew up, I didn't grow up. I grew up here, but I moved to Alabama, which I used to have a little farm in Dutton, Alabama, which is top of the mountain at Scottsboro, okay? And so Fort Payne right down the road. And, of course, the Alabama boys from Fort Payne, we used to have the June Jam every year. And the whole damn town would, quadruple in size with people, and it had a big open field in the June Jam with Alabama. Now this is a while back, but man, you talk about a party. That was it.
Well, let me tell you a little story about that. So, I've been to a few June Jams myself, and loved the atmosphere. Was great. And they had big artists come in all the time, and I grew up as big of an Alabama music fan as there is, to the point where even today there's still discussion with a couple of guys in my band to do an Alabama tribute show,
right?
And travel around doing Alabama tribute songs. But anyway, I actually moved to Fort Payne.
Oh wow!
Back in 2007, moved to Fort Payne for a year. I was a teacher and coach out there, and while I was there, I met a young lady. We ended up getting married, and she's from Fort Payne, so I'm sure she's listening right now. She's probably excited to know that you mentioned June Jam.
Yeah.
Because that is exactly, that was our big connection right out of the gate. Was I loved Alabama, and she did too. And and so that was kind of a big deal for us. I was surprised one day we were at her house, and she had this CD collection. Back when CDs were a thing, you remember those days?
I do remember those things, yeah.
And she popped it in, and I was singing along, and looked, she knew every word to every song like I did.
Nice.
And so we've had so many discussions about, over the years about her trips to June Jam and mine too. We probably bumped into each other, didn't even know it back then because it was before we even met. But yeah, she's a Fort Payne girl too, so that's kind of funny that you say that.
It's really cool. To this day, I still slip off down there, and because my favorite place to eat barbecue is the barbecue place in Fort Payne. Yeah. Okay, you got to get you some chicken fingers and some JoJo's, baby.
Ooh, that sounds
JoJo's,
good.
they are so good.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite places to go. The place has not changed a bit. I've been going there since like 1987 or whatever, and hasn't changed one bit.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. I hadn't changed at all. I mean, you drive up and down through there, it's the same places, same strip. I mean, they've got a few new houses that have gone up here and there, but other than that, yeah, it's still the same. It's beautiful too. I mean, if anybody's ever been there, I mean, that whole area, it's probably one of the prettiest in the state of Alabama. The canyon there is just incredible.
Yeah. Of course, back then you had to drive up to Collinsville to get beer. The town was dry,
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may still be that way around there.
No, they got beer there.
Oh, wow. Moved up.
If it's not, it's just changed recently.
Well, a lot of people don't know. We're talking a lot about Fort Payne, but a lot of people don't know it used to be the sock capital of the world.
Yes,
right?
I knew that.
Yeah, that's where all your socks came from.
Yep.
Then they ran off all the sock mills. Okay, so they had to open up restaurants that served alcohol. Right, so they had to do something to keep the town going. But Yeah, man, we could talk about Fort Payne forever, but let's talk about you. And, I think it'd be cool, though, to do an Alabama thing because you did like an Eagles tour around for a while, didn't you?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So there were two bands that really like influenced me when I started playing, and that was the Eagles.
Yeah.
I bought one of those, bought a chord book, and bought a guitar at the same time, and it was an Eagles chord book. And so I started learning how to play doing the Eagles. And then I loved Alabama. My parents had Alabama records, and you remember those big, huge buffet style stereos?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So we had one of those, and I wish I still had one today. Like, and especially that one. I don't know if they're worth anything, but they were beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, we used to listen to Alabama records back then. That's when I was a kid. So once I learned how to play the guitar and translate some of those songs, I could immediately chime in to Alabama songs. And so when I first started playing my own acoustic shows, I was doing Eagle songs and Alabama songs. And that was somewhat of a decline, and they picked back up, years later, where both of them were, back in the conversation again. But those two bands influenced me heavily. And so it's been a couple years ago, a friend of mine named Chuck Rackley was standing in playing a show with me. And he said, listen, these tribute bands are really kind of taking off right now.
Yeah.
They're playing all over the place, and it's decent money attached to it. And would you be interested in being, the voice behind some of these, doing, Don Henley and Glenn Frey? And immediately I was like, yes, let's do it. And so we started it, and it's really kind of taken off. We played a lot of places. Played down in Pensacola about a month or two ago, and then we played a big show out in Tupelo, Mississippi at the arena, Bancorp South Arena, doing a show. And so to me, we're not the Eagles by any stretch, but it sure is fun to pretend we are.
That's right.
So we didn't trash any hotel rooms or anything, but that was kind of fun. And so, Alabama is, they're closing in on the end of an amazing career. Mm-hmm. I've followed them their entire career, and so we've seen them play a number of times. They're coming back to Birmingham for, I think, probably one more last big hurrah, and we're going to try to go see them there. So to me, I think playing a tribute to them would be an amazing thing. So I've already sent out the set list. It's up to the guys in the band to start learning it. I already know my part. I'm ready to go. I'm just waiting on that.
Well, I've been to all their houses, and Jeff Cooks is probably the coolest because he's got that really nice studio there. Teddy Gentry lives right inside of Fort Payne up on a hill there in a beautiful house, or he did then. Now the drummer, he lived in an apartment somewhere in South, and Randy Owens, he's got a gate out in front of his house that says "Feels So Right" because that song paid for the house.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, so you're it's so funny though. I mean, you're speaking the language right now.
Oh yeah.
Of me, and especially my wife. I know she's out there right now. She probably listened to the show somewhere out in the backyard in a bathing suit next to the pool, and I guarantee you she's grinning right now.
Well, there's probably 3 people in the whole world on the radio today that would know how to get to Dogtown through Lick Skillet.
Those are real names.
They are.
Yes.
Hard to believe. That's true.
That's a good song. I went to Dogtown through Lick Skillet
just a few months ago, trying to get some.
Is that her laughing out there? Well, there used to be a sign headed down 59 that said it was a furniture company in Dogtown. And I know people were traveling through there going like, "What the hell do I want to go to a furniture place in Dogtown?" But I think it was.
Hey, let me tell you, it's huge.
It is huge.
It is a huge place, and you can find anything you want to out there. I'm not putting the advertisement out for them right now or anything, but I'm telling you, it's in the middle of nowhere, but it is huge.
Yeah. Well, people used to go to, on Sundays, I think it was, or maybe it was Saturday, I can't remember now, but you go to Trade Day down in Collinsville. That was a big deal.
Yes.
And, of course, like I said earlier, you'd have to go to the state line there in Collinsville to get beer and all that good stuff. But anyway,
But do you know where Walnut Grove, Alabama is?
Of course.
Well,
that's where my people are from.
Her people.
That's her people.
Sounds like you guys just need to come on and hang out with me.
Yeah, the original hippie chick.
Alabama.
Yeah, she's from Walnut,
Walnut Grove, Alabama, between Attala and Aniana.
Yep. There you go.
So my steel guitar player, he plays with me every so often. He's actually principal out there in Walnut Grove. His name's Butch Dixon. He plays with me sometimes. Anytime we have like a festival or something where we need a good steel to guitar player, and he travels around and plays with a bunch of folks.
Well, that big farm that is right beside the high school there, that was my grandparents' farm. Well,
really?
It's now it used to be. I don't know what it looks like now. I think Danny took me down there to see it. After they passed away, we sold it off and everything, but. I think there's a couple that lives there now, I think, that deals in some used cars and stuff. But it wasn't like that back then. It was a real working farm back then. And that high school has been around for many years. My mother went to that.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, and my mother is 86 years old.
Yeah.
And she was the valedictorian there.
Oh,
So
wow.
That's how old that school is.
What a small world, huh?
Man.
It is small. We're probably cousins. We don't even know.
We probably are. I'm sure we are in some part.
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Yeah.
There's a great possibility.
Everybody's got a cousin in Alabama. Yeah. Jimmy Buffett's got one in Miami, and we
There
all
you
got
go.
one in Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. Now, you 160 shows a year. Man.
Wow. That's good.
That's crazy. 150, 160. I mean, where are you playing all these shows? Everywhere?
Man, it's so when I started playing, I picked up regular shows. So I have I played in a lot of places, restaurants, bars around here where I've played, and I have a lot of friends and people hang around and ask for me to come back.
Yeah.
And as a result, the bars and venue owners have asked me, "Hey, can you do a weekly show?" Which has been great. So I have so they know when I'm coming. So because of that, for a while I was playing every Thursday night at a location. I was playing every Friday night or every other Friday night somewhere. Saturdays I typically reserve for private events, and then I play a few places on Wednesday night about maybe every other week. And those add up. And there's some shows, like right now on my schedule, I've got 2 shows a day coming up. I'll be playing a festival somewhere during the day, and then at night I'll be playing somewhere else. So it adds up quickly, and I get tired. I get really tired because I also have a real job. Like last night, for example, I played a show last night. And it was a private event in Atlanta. It was a graduation party.
Wow.
And I left out, probably went out there. I left around 2:00, played a show, got done, and then made the drive back to Birmingham. Last night I got home probably around midnight or so. And that's normal for me.
Yeah.
And my wife and family have kind of gotten used to it, but they sacrifice a lot to allow me to do it. But it's also helping pay a few bills every now and then too.
Sure.
So. But it's a hobby that I get paid to do, so I love doing it.
Well, yeah, and that's another interesting fact about you. I mean, being a school teacher for 24 years, and you got one more year to go, and 25 years he's out, right? And
Understood.
I'd mentioned Greg Dillard, who is another singer-songwriter we know, who's actually playing our summer party here. We have a big summer party here at the Tiki Bar every summer. He's playing it, but he's a school teacher. Him and his wife are both school teachers from Tupelo, Mississippi. And that's a real passion. I mean, you have to have a passion in order to do it that long. But,
Dude, I remember when I first got into education, or when I was in high school, I was actually playing. I was in now don't laugh, okay, but here we go. When I graduated high school, I was playing shows, but I was in a boy band. All right, it was a Christian boy band, and we played around, and it was great, and we loved it. We traveled, and we at that point we kind of started going to college. I was playing college baseball. We're doing a lot of things, and I've kind of put music down for a long time. Mm-hmm. But I remember when I first got into education, in the back of my mind, I knew that I was going to be able to retire in my 40s. Mm-hmm. At age 25. At 25 years.
Yeah.
And so in the back of my head, that's always been, it's never really been up for debate. I had always decided that that's what I was going to do and start another career. But what happened along the way, I was a coach too. I coached football, baseball, wrestling, softball for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I started playing these shows. And I realized I was having to leave practice early. Sometimes when parents wouldn't come pick up their kids from football practice or wrestling practice till late, I'd have to stay, and I'd miss first part of my gig. And I just finally had to walk into my principal's office and say, "Look, I just can't do it anymore. Yeah. I've got this has come up, and it's just opportunities every week that I just really can't pass up." And so, for 24 years. I have been looking forward to this one last year to finally say goodbye and then start a new career. Probably continue doing what I'm doing, playing shows, but I'll be able to do maybe a little bit more and not feel guilty about it right now. For example, I just picked up a show in Nashville every week. Every Tuesday at Tin Roof in Broadway, downtown Nashville. So anybody listening out there that
very nice
makes trips to Nashville, come out and join me for lunch one day from 11 to 2:30. I pass out a menu of songs on the tables where people can kind of pick what they want to hear, because I get tired of people requesting Freebird. And so
Freebird!
Play me some Leonard Skinner, please.
Yeah.
It's actually a running joke around here because people know how I feel about people requesting Freebird at my shows, and so now everybody requests it. They sit down and go, Freebird.
Yeah, they do the same thing around here with karaoke. They know I hate karaoke, so they'll all come here to the chocolate bar and do karaoke.
What's so funny is when people request Freebird, they all think it's like maybe the first time that they've gotten to really yell it out, maybe at somebody up on the stage, and they think it's funny. But what they don't realize is that every guy who plays an acoustic show has heard that probably 1,000 times, and it's just not funny anymore.
I know.
It's just the point like, oh my God, did you just say Freebird, really? So, so as a result, I don't play Freebird, but. I take it back. I did play it the other day.
Yeah. Well, let's play one of the tunes that we have here that it's kind of how we got together, which is you guys sent me this music. And it's called "Made the Bar My Church." All right, so we're going to play this song, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about it. All right.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
If you're just joining us, Robert Abernathy, singer-songwriter from Alabama, is with us right now. This song is "Made the Bar My Church." All right, here we go. There you go. Robert Abernathy, "Make the Bar My Church." Tell us a little bit about that real quickly.
Man, let me tell you, that was a fun one to put together. So just a little bit of history. I wrote that song with Kathy Wallace. It was actually her idea. I'd met her in a songwriting conference in Nashville, mm-hmm. and she brought me the idea, and it was a completely different song. And so we sat down and tweaked it a little bit, and I put some music to it, and we sent it to a couple different people who gave us different suggestions on where to go with it. Sandy Ramos was one of those, and we came back with it, and I put it together, and I thought, man, let me tell you, this would be a great song to have some fantastic guitar.
Yeah.
So I took it to Nashville to a producer friend of mine, Daniel Dennis, and I told him what I wanted, and he said, well, let's reach out. Let's get Kenny Chesney's guitar player, John Conley, who's played this. So all the guitar you heard on there was John Conley.
Nice.
Wow.
Who is probably, to me, one of the best guitarists in Nashville. He is absolutely amazing. He's a super nice guy. So if you've never met the guy, I've talked to him a few times, and emails, the guy's incredibly nice and super talented. But the version that you just played, was the radio version, but there's also another version that we did. It's actually on my Reverb Nation page.
Okay.
If anybody goes to reverbnation.com/Robert Abernathy, there's a version on there that is back in the days where you had like the B-side albums and stuff. Well, I decided we'd make it a little extended version. So I told John on that song, I said, look, what I want you to do, I want the song to kind of fade out, and then I want you to come back in, and I just want a killer just play around and jam. And by God, he did. And so the only reason I didn't put it on the radio version is because you know how people radios, let's keep it between 3 and 3.5 minutes.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, but I wanted that one just for myself, just so I could, if I ever wanted to listen to it, I think it'd bother me to go 4.5 minutes to listen to it. And he does for about a solid minute. He just tears it up. So when you have time at the end of this, just to go check it out, because he did a great job with it.
Well, we got a couple of minutes here, so I want to make sure. First of all, it's so cool. I mean, do you guys ever come to Chattanooga?
I do. Most of the time I'm Chattanooga. I'm doing in that area up in Tennessee. I do a ton of private events. Yeah. That's probably the majority of the stuff I do especially on my Saturdays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to come play up there somewhere sometime.
Yeah. Or, if you're just traveling through, you're just hanging out for the weekend or whatever, we'd love to have you here for the show sometime. Come out here to the studio and do the show with us, maybe play a couple tunes or something, But
heck yeah, man, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, man. So tell everybody where they can find your music. And let's see here. I've got Robert Abernathy.com, right?
Yep. So I keep most of my stuff updated there on robertabernathy.com. I don't put everything on there because I'm a songwriter too. I'm constantly pitching songs to artists. Mm-hmm. And so what I do is I keep all of my content in one place on my Reverb Nation page. It's become pretty simple for me to use. So if somebody, for example, wanted to hear songs that aren't on the radio or are not on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, they can always go to my Reverb Nation page. And what I do is I put even songs that as I have written them, sometimes I'll just put just an acoustic version out there. So I've probably got a dozen songs on my Reverb Nation page that are sitting there that are waiting to go, and they're great songs. And the only reason I have not put them out on Spotify or somewhere is because I feel like they're good enough that an artist may want some of these, a much bigger artist than me. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it just depends on the artist. They don't really want stuff that's been out there pumped, over indie radio and radio everywhere else. They want to be the first ones to grab it. So,
right.
But you can get a sneak peek on some of those by going to reverbnation.com/Robert Abernathy. But like you said, robertabernathy.com, my Facebook page and Instagram are full of stuff all the time. My schedule's out there on my Facebook page as well.
Well, man, I can't thank you enough for making some time for us. It's really cool having you on the show. And hopefully anytime you got any new music that you want to get out there, send it to us, and we'll get the word out for you. And, of course, if you're in Fort Payne, tell all of our cousins we said hi, okay?
Maybe I'll see you in Chattanooga or even Key West one of these days.
There you go, brother. Great. There you go, man. Thanks a lot, man, for being on the big show, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, thank you.
All right,
you guys have a great day.
Yeah, you too. We're going to play another one here. You Can't Have My Boat, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to love this one.
Take care, buddy.